Welcome to the 11th episode of the Beauty of Style podcast, brought to you by the BeautyCouncil. I'm your host, Greg Robbins, and today we have a special episode with a member question. At the BeautyCouncil, we help members solve their problems and connect them with professionals in our hand-picked network. So with that, let's jump into our first member question episode.
Maya here from the Sunshine Coast. Thank you so much for your podcast. I just love it. Anyways, I have a question for you around insurance because I'm not really sure how it works when it comes to working in your own home. So I have a home-based business and I have home insurance and I have liability and all that. But I'm looking into professional insurance so that I'm properly covered. Can you give me some ideas or give us some ideas as to how we should go about getting the proper insurance so we're covered and we can stay out of trouble? Thanks so much. Looking forward to your reply.
Hey, Maya from the Sunshine Coast. Thank you so much for your question. Love the Sunshine Coast. It's just a beautiful place. Gotta love Ruby Lake in the summertime if you can. Anyone listening, get up there, jump in. It's beautiful. It's really nice. So your question around insurance, you are not alone. So many of our members call us around a number of things, especially around insurance and health plans. But insurance is something that we get a lot of questions around, I think is generally misunderstood. So great question. Glad you asked it. So let's just really quickly talk about what insurance is in the first place. Insurance is something that you buy, right? Just like for your car or anything else. And it means if someone is injured while you're working on them, or somebody decides to sue you for some reason because they don't like your work or something happened, insurance will cover you. If you are not insured, you have no coverage. That means if something breaks or someone gets injured or you get sued, you're on your own. That means you have to pay for everything yourself. So that's what insurance is in the big picture. So around your question, will insurance that you have for your home cover you in a home-based business? The short answer is no. So the reason you have home insurance is specific to the reason that you live in your home. So why do you live in your home? You need a place to live. It's a roof over your head. It's where you sleep at night. And so you buy insurance to cover and protect that part of your asset, right? So you're essentially covering it. So if it burns down, they'll put you in a hotel. If it gets struck by lightning or something, they'll fix whatever gets damaged. If a tree falls on the roof, they fix that too. The other thing home insurance usually covers are things like theft. So if someone breaks into your house and steals your stuff, they will replace it. It can also extend out to stuff like your bikes or things like in your shed, that sort of stuff. Home insurance also comes very often with a liability policy, meaning that if you somehow, something goes wrong and someone gets injured and they sue you, very often your home insurance will protect you. Now, you got to check your policy to be sure about that. But for example, if you don't shovel your driveway properly and somebody's walking down, they slip and fall and bonk their head, they could take you to court and try and sue you for damages, in which case you're going to need a lawyer. And if the judge awards damages to the person that gets injured, you will have to pay those. If you're not insured, all of that has to come out of your own pocket. So that's home insurance. Now, the thing is, home insurance is designed specifically for residents living in a home for the purposes of residential use only. That's it. If you're running a professional business out of your home, anybody for that matter, then you need specific insurance to cover you for the things that happen in your professional life. Your home insurance will not cover it. And the reason is because that's not what they're designed to do. When you sign that contract for your home insurance, you would have just said, I live there, I sleep there, I eat there, that's what I do there. And the insurance company says, great, we're going to cover you for those things only and and nothing else. If you walked in and said, gosh, somebody wants to sue me because I botched their makeup, whatever, their permanent makeup, or I burnt their scalp, the insurance company would say, well, you're not covered for that. You're actually not supposed to be doing that sort of thing in your house according to our policy, so you're not covered. So you would be left high and dry. So we've teamed up with a number of insurance companies that can provide you in your home with specific home insurance. And by that, That means coverage that is designed exclusively for nothing other than professional use. So that's a separate policy. You pay for it separately. And there are two sort of general aspects to that insurance. One is called general liability, and then there's professional liability. So the first one is general liability. General liability means if, let's say, a client walks in, they start walking down your steps. There happens to be a banana peel for some reason on the steps because a child left it there, or the railing is loose and they fall down the stairs. And let's say they break their arm. Okay, just making up an assumption here. This is just something I'm making up as I go along. They break their arm, but their job actually requires them to use their arm. Maybe your client is a nurse or a doctor or something, and she needs her arm to work. So she's going to have to take time off work and suffer what's called a loss. In other words, she won't be able to work and earn money. So she will likely sue you for those losses. In other words, I can't work for 6 months. That means I'm out $40,000. I'm going to sue you for $40,000. It could be much worse. There could be a head injury or something. So that's general liability. So that usually extends to your premises as it relates to things around your house. Let's say your stairs, a slippery floor, maybe hot scalding water in the bathroom, stuff like that. So that's what the general part is. The second piece of the insurance is called professional. Professional insurance relates exclusively to the type of work that you do as a beauty professional on your client. And the reason it's separated is because anybody can slip on a banana peel, anybody can burn their hands on hot scalding water in your bathroom, but only people that you're performing professional beauty services on or grooming services on are going to be injured by those particular services. And those are called professional services or professional liability to cover that. In that case, let's say you are performing a service on the individual, you nick them and you cause a little infection. They go off, maybe they don't treat it. That infection becomes quite serious, turns into something bad, and they suffer 3 weeks in the hospital with some sort of nasty infection, or they contract hepatitis or something bad happens. So in that case, you could be sued as well because that person would suffer losses in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they couldn't go to work. They had distress as a result. It caused another complication. You name it. So in that case, they would sue you, but that would fall under what's called the professional liability coverage, because that particular incident or, like the effect on the client happened only as a result of the professional services that you were providing them. So that's what that part is. There's a third component and even more components. Your adjuster your insurance agent can always give you recommendations and advice. There are things, for example, for coverage of your supplies and your equipment. So let's say someone breaks into your house, walks past all your jewelry, all your gold, and goes straight for your high-priced equipment, maybe steals a laser machine, maybe makes off with a $1,000 pair of shears. In that case, a good insurance policy for professional use will cover those losses as well. Now, it gets quite complicated because maybe you do a wedding on a weekend. Maybe you do your neighbor, but not at your house. You take your stuff over to their place and you're no longer in your physical space that you put on the policy. So it's really, really important. We always say it's super important to tell your insurance agent exactly how you run your business. Don't hide anything. Don't pretend you don't do something. If you are offering a service today and then offer another service tomorrow, make sure you call your agent and tell them that you've included this new service in your lineup. They may or may not adjust your premiums. It could adjust, it could go up, it could go down. It just depends. But what you do not want to be is sitting in court one day and your agent looking over at you and say, I just wish you told me you did that because I would have added it to your policy and you would have been covered. But now I can't cover you because you didn't tell me, so I don't know. So this is typically the way things unfold in court. And you want to be covered. Trust me, this is where you want to be entirely, you want to sleep well at night, you want to be entirely covered, and you want to have all of that in place. Not only do you want it, but at the end of the day, your clients want it as well. Now, if I were going to go and get a service somewhere and there was even a minimal risk of injury to me, I would want my service provider completely covered. And here's why. Because if I chose to sue or, or whatever, or make a claim against the provider, knowing that there's an insurance company standing behind that provider to pay out makes me very comfortable. Thinking that I am going to either ruin their lives or empty their bank account or have them declare bankruptcy because they can't afford to pay me and then I get nothing, that makes me nervous. So that's why you see a lot of trucks driving around for plumbers and electricians that say fully insured and bonded. That means that, you know what, if they make something go wrong, they are covered by insurance and you will get your payout if need be. So it works both ways. It protects you and it protects your clients. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for being our very, very first caller and super excited about it. And if you have any other questions as a member, please call in. We're more than happy to connect you with one of our two providers, Apollo or Zensurance. They both know the business really well. They'll fix you up with what you need. We recommend them, and they are available to all of our members. Thanks so much.
Got a question you'd like to have answered? It's easy. Just email a voice recording to info@beautycouncil.ca and keep listening to the Business of Style podcast.